The Kaliningrad region has always been a thorn in NATO's side. This Russian exclave, wedged tightly between Poland and Lithuania, has become one of the most militarized territories in Europe. Today it houses one of Moscow's most formidable strike systems, the Iskander-M Operational Tactical Missile Complex, OTRK. From this strategic outpost, 6 NATO members, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Sweden, and Germany, are now within direct missile reach. The deployment of such systems in Kaliningrad is no mere deterrent. It is a sharp reminder of Russia's ability to project power across Europe at a moment's notice. Why 6 countries are targeted? Russia's choice to place these nations in its crosshairs is not random, but deeply calculated. Poland, as NATO's eastern flank and the main logistical hub for arms deliveries to Ukraine, is an obvious priority. Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, small Baltic states, represent NATO's weakest military link, where a sudden strike could fracture alliance unity. Sweden, despite its geography across the Baltic Sea, has shifted from neutrality to NATO membership, making it a new strategic rival that Moscow feels compelled to intimidate. Finally, Germany, NATO's central power and economic engine, serves as both a symbolic and practical target, demonstrating that even Europe's strongest state is not beyond Russia's reach. By grouping these 6 countries, Russia signals that the entire northern tier of NATO, from Central Europe to Scandinavia, must constantly live under the shadow of Kaliningrad's missile arsenal. This psychological and military pressure is a weapon in itself, forcing NATO to dedicate resources, troops, and air defense systems to a constant state of alert. The timing of these deployments is equally significant. Russia and Belarus are currently conducting Zapad 2025, one of their largest joint military exercises. While officially defensive in nature, these maneuvers practice scenarios of repelling a NATO invasion of the Union state. However, Western observers believe the exercises go far beyond defense. They are rehearsals for rapid offensive actions. Kaliningrad plays a central role in these drills. Videos recently surfaced showing Russian Iskander-M systems deployed directly on roads, simulating mobile launch scenarios. This launch-on-wheels tactic reflects Moscow's intent to make its missile forces unpredictable and survivable, able to strike NATO territory without fixed launch sites, vulnerable to preemptive strikes. Europe is watching closely. Germany, for example, has dispatched 2,000 Bundeswehr troops and hundreds of armored vehicles to Lithuania in response to Zapad 2025, testing NATO's readiness to counter a sudden Russian move. This military posturing underscores the deepening spiral of action and reaction between Moscow and the alliance. For NATO, the Kaliningrad deployment poses a dual challenge, military and political. Militarily, the Iskander-M system, with its range of up to 500 kilometers, high maneuverability, and potential nuclear capability, threatens critical infrastructure, command centers, and forward bases across northern and central Europe. Politically, the knowledge that key capitals like Warsaw, Vilnius, Riga, Tallinn, Stockholm, and even Berlin could be hit within minutes erodes public confidence and forces governments into a constant defensive stance. Moreover, the presence of these missiles compels NATO to disperse its forces. Air defense batteries, which are already limited in number, must be spread thinly across multiple countries. This creates gaps in coverage and strains NATO's ability to mount a coordinated response in case of crisis. Russia is well aware of this and uses Kaliningrad as a strategic lever, not only to threaten but also to weaken the alliance's cohesion. Beyond NATO, Ukraine also has reasons to worry. In Kyiv, military analysts fear that after Zapad 2025 concludes, Russian forces may attempt to open a new front in the north or west. The logic is straightforward. Ukrainian troops are already overstretched along the eastern and southern fronts. A sudden escalation involving Kaliningrad or even Belarus would force Ukraine to divert forces, further straining its already depleted manpower reserves. For Ukraine, the Kaliningrad missiles are not only a threat to NATO but also a potential prelude to a broader Russian strategy of encirclement. By keeping both NATO and Kyiv guessing, Moscow maximizes its leverage. The The militarization of Kaliningrad has been a long-standing concern, but with the Iskander-M now actively drilled in Zapad 2025, the sense of urgency has intensified. NATO's response is twofold: bolstering troop deployments in the Baltics and accelerating missile defense systems such as Patriot and Aegis ashore. Yet the reality remains grim. Missile defenses cannot guarantee full protection against a coordinated Russian strike, particularly if nuclear warheads are factored in. This dynamic creates a fragile balance. One miscalculation, one accidental missile launch, or one overreaction could plunge Europe into a conflict it has desperately sought to avoid. The Kaliningrad region, though geographically small, thus becomes a central fault line in the standoff between Moscow and NATO. The presence of Iskander-M systems in Kaliningrad is more than a tactical deployment. It is a geopolitical message. By placing 6 NATO countries within its crosshairs, Russia demonstrates its ability to destabilize the entire European security architecture. Zapad 2025 only amplifies these fears, showing that Moscow's preparations are not theoretical but actively rehearsed. For NATO, the challenge is no longer abstract. The threat is visible, immediate, and only a few hundred kilometers away. For Europe's civilians, the shadow of Kaliningrad is a daily reminder that the continent once again stands on the edge of confrontation. And for Russia, the exclave remains its sharpest dagger aimed squarely at the heart of NATO. However, could Russia's Iskander-M missiles in Kaliningrad wipe out NATO's forward defenses in less than an hour? The chilling answer is that it's entirely possible. If Moscow launched a sudden strike, Iskander-M systems could rain down dozens of missiles within minutes, overwhelming air defenses and crippling NATO's ability to respond. Airfields in Poland, radar stations in Lithuania, command centers in Latvia and Estonia, even strategic hubs in Sweden and Germany, all could be neutralized before NATO leaders even made their first decision. This is not just speculation, it is the core reason why Kaliningrad has become Europe's most dangerous flashpoint. The mere presence of these missiles forces NATO to fight against time, knowing that in a real conflict every second would determine survival or destruction.